Hey everyone, it's Jeff Fisher of High School Football America, joined today by former NFL Pro Bowl cornerback Bobby Taylor, also a member of the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. Got a lot to talk about, Bobby, but thanks for taking some time today.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, we're going to cover some flag football. We're going to cover, boys and girls flag, what you're doing with the NFL, with the Legends and the Youth Advisory Committee. Going to talk some Longview Lobo football, basketball, and track maybe, and of course some things you're doing at the college level. I know you did some combined work too. So let's start with flag. I know this past weekend was a great weekend. I'm a Pennsylvania guy. I love the Big 33, but you guys expanded it. Now we've gone from the biggest high school football all-star game in America for boys and tackle to girls flag. Tell me what you did this past weekend.
Yeah, so the first time in the 67-year history of the Big 33, we had a high school girls all-star tournament, and we had four of our NFL clubs send all-star teams, one from the Commanders, one from the Ravens, Eagles, and Steelers. And so we had about 80 ladies that were present there in Mechanicsburg, PA. And so they got after it. I mean, it was fun to see them competing out there, having fun. We've received a lot of emails from some of the young ladies just thanking us for the opportunity. And, I replied back, I wanted to thank them because, they were trailblazers. And like when you introduced this segment, the Big 33 has been a high school all-star game that probably rivals no others in the country. And there are a lot of my peers that I played against and played with that participated in the big big 33. And so to just have those young ladies to be a part of something that has a long history, and they are setting history as well by this being the inaugural year, and it was just a joy to see them out there competing.
No doubt. 9 of your 10 years with the Eagles. So was it a little bit sweeter because you know Pennsylvania so well? I know you're a Texas guy, but was it a little bit sweeter to get that going there in the I guess the second home state, right? At least in the professional career.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I do have still have some roots in the PA area and Philly specifically. And ironically, that was actually my first time being in Central PA, and so to just be there to experience everyone that was there, they welcomed us with open arms. But yeah, it was great to somehow have an impact after playing the game, like I'm trying to have now, working alongside great leaders as Roman Oben, who is our leader of our football development department, and then my former teammate Troy Vincent, who's the EVP of our football ops department at the NFL.
Yeah, I'm going to get into flag in a second, but that was one of my questions. You just stole it there. I remember covering you guys in training camp there at Lehigh University in Bethlehem. Did you ever think that at one point you'd be working together again in the NFL together?
You know what? Yes, I did, because out of my 9 years that I was there in Philly playing for the Eagles, myself, Troy, Brian Dawkins, we played together 8 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
and so we became more than just teammates. It was more like brothers, family, and so we would have discussions with each other while we were there in Philly, just talking about some of our interests off the field, because sometimes you can become so consumed with the game, which is a good thing, but there's other parts and aspects of our lives as well that was important to us. So to see it all come to fruition now, to be able to work with Troy, it's great. I mean, it's tough. We challenge each other. He has a high standard. I feel like I have a high standard as well, and we just want to do well for the game. That's the most important thing for these young men that are out here playing, and now with young ladies that are playing as well.
Yeah, so let's dive into the flag part of it all. This isn't something new for you, meaning the Big 33. You've been involved with flag for a while. Tell the people out there that don't know what you've been doing at the flag level, because I think your kids are involved too, right? Even the boys. So
Yeah,
explain.
so yeah, absolutely. So I have three boys. My oldest is at Texas A&M on a football scholarship. Then we have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old as well. And so they love the game of football. I mean, it's something that, I didn't force upon them. I wanted them to be able to choose their own path and also just play other sports as well. But, we are, and, I can brag and say a football household. I'm kind of ashamed to say my two youngest, the Eagles aren't necessarily their favorite team or what have you. But, hopefully over the next couple of years, we can twist their own arms to change that. But yes, they love the game of football. And, I've always just tried to teach them the fundamentals because, when they learn the fundamentals, for one, they could potentially be more successful, enjoy the game, and, prevent unnecessary injuries and things of that nature. But yeah, it's fun to see, my little jitterbugs running around out there on the field.
Girls and boys, and the girls side is just growing leaps and bounds, no doubt about that. And like I said, this is something you've been doing for a while. What makes you smile the most when it comes to the growth of the flag side of things?
Probably when we first had one of our first meetings when I started working with the NFL, probably back at the draft in 2019 in Nashville, Tennessee. I mean, it was myself, Troy Vincent. It was men like Deion Sanders that sat in that room, Trent Dilfer, Pat. Who else was there? There was I said Trent Dilfer. We had Maurice Jones-Drew. We had Michael Robinson, Chad Pennington, who also is the co-chair of our Legends Youth Advisory Committee. And we work alongside each other. And so to just sit in the room at that particular time and just talk about youth football in general, because we had a lot of guys in the room that were high school football coaches. I was doing some skills training at the time, and flag football came up. And, some of us, kind of sat back in our seat, but to just talk about it at that particular time, set some specific goals, and to see a lot of those things be a reality today, I mean, I think it's just a true blessing.
And now it's an Olympic sport, which is a good segue into the fact that you've got a little good DNA there. I think Dad won a gold and a silver in '72, if I'm not mistaken, in the Olympics in track. But what's it mean to have the sport at the Olympic level, knowing that the Taylors have a little bit of a footprint in the Olympics?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, track and field had probably was my favorite sport growing up until I probably got in high school. It was the first sport that I competed in. You mentioned my father. He ran in the 1972 Olympics in Munich, Germany. He won. He won the 4x1 relay and finished second in the 100 meters. And so, to see flag football to be a part of the Olympics, something that I look forward to watching every 4 years. I mean, there are sports that I probably don't know much about that I sit and watch just because you think about the camaraderie and, these men and women that are representing their countries. I mean, I think it's a cool thing. And then also when the announcement was, I think we made the announcement back in October when the IOC awarded during the 2028 Olympics that flag football would be a part of it. To see a lot of the current players, raise their hands to say, "Hey, if I'm still in the league, this is something that I want to play in." That just, I think, brought it full circle for me.
Yeah, no, it's such exciting news. You mentioned Chad Pennington and the NFL Youth Advisory, the NFL Legends Youth Advisory Committee. Tell the people out there a little bit of what you guys do. A lot of former players, as you said. What's kind of the mission? We talked about flag, but beyond that, what's it all about?
Well, yeah. So, when I spoke about the meeting that we had at the combines during that time, that's when we were asked to be a part of the Legends Youth Advisory Committee. And our mission is simple, really, to just help grow youth and high school football. We also have a Legends Coaches Network that I'm very proud of. We have almost about 1,000 men that are former players that are giving back to the game on all levels of football, from youth all the way up to professional coaches. And so we try to provide them with resources and all types of things so they can be successful, because we do feel like former players that are in this space can contribute a lot to the game.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We've interviewed a lot of them. for high school football in America and NFL play football as well. It's exciting to see guys that are reaching down into the roots of the game, no doubt about that. Let's switch up here a little bit. I said we got a lot to cover in a short time, so let's go back to the days. You're still in the Houston area. You're a Longview Lobo, state championship in basketball, all-stater in football, member of the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. It's a long resume, folks. Oh, you won a gold medal in track and field too. So when I tell you all that stuff, what puts the biggest smile on your face?
You know what? I probably just remembering my days in Longview, Texas, just playing little league football over at Stamper Park, which is the name of the park on the south side of town, where I stayed, and I could remember like almost like it was yesterday when I wasn't old enough to play. And on Saturday mornings, I would be on our front porch out in the front yard playing. I could hear the crowds because the field was probably 2 to 3 blocks away from where we lived on Park Street. And so to hear all of that and just want to know like what's going on over there, right? And then having the opportunity when I was in the fourth grade to play for the Ware Demons was the elementary school that I went to. And so that probably brings the fondest memories to me because that's where it all started. That's where I think I developed that passion and love for the game of football. And, there were so many men and women that volunteered, that coached our team, that coached the cheerleading team, that I can remember Coach Daniels. That was my first coach during that time. And so I learned so much from him, not only just about football, but just how to be a good teammate, some of the life skills that you learn, how to win good, how to lose good, all of those things. And so I think that probably brings the fondest memory when I think about it.
Yeah, we've interviewed a lot of the teams, coaches of the week, coaches of the year, whether it's boys or girls football, doesn't matter. We've done a lot of different stories on what you guys are doing. And when I talk to the coaches, one of the questions I always ask is, what does it mean to you that your NFL team is reaching down into your sport, into your profession? And they all have the same thing, which is, man, it is awesome. So let's reverse it a little bit. What's it mean for you as a former player and now involved in reaching down and helping? What does it mean to you? What's the most rewarding part of it?
You know what? Well, first and foremost, I'm just honored to serve, just being in this position. And, I don't necessarily need the credit personally. I think more importantly, it's the reactions of the young men, the reactions of the young women, the reaction of the coaches when they say things like, hey, like, how did you even know that we existed? And one of the first things that I say is that, ma'am or sir, I came from some of these same humble beginnings. I came from a program probably just like this, and so to be able to do that, I think that's the icing on the cake or the cherry on top, if you will, when it comes to the work that we're currently doing right now. And it's tireless. It's nonstop. I mean, sometimes my kids have to say, "Dad, can you get off the email?" Or what are you researching and looking up now? Because when we check one box, there's another box that's there that we're trying to check. And so that's the most important thing, to just try to reach back, because I do feel like that football is the greatest sport in America, and for it to continue to be that, there's work that has to always be done, and I'm willing to be able to do that along with the men and women that I work aside right now.
I'm following you. Well, it's X now. I was going to say I follow you on Twitter. I see a lot of places where you are. It's like I know you're a little busy. One of the things when we connected was you were doing, I think it was the Big 12 Combine, maybe, or something
Yes,
along
sir.
those lines. So let's talk about the college level. So you've got it all covered. You're going from the youth to the girls and boys at the high school level, the youth level, and all that, right up into the college. Tell us what you're doing there.
Yeah, so when we look at our football ops goals, our football development goals, it starts at the youth, and the pathway goes all the way up until the pros. And so I've been fortunate enough to be a mentor for the last 2 years when it comes to the combines in Indy. But then also this was the first year that we had the Big 12 combine, and when it taking place in my home state, right up in right outside of Dallas in Frisco at the Cowboys facility. Fly Eagles fly. When I mention Cowboys, I have to always say that as
I
well.
wasn't going to
But
say anything.
But to have that opportunity with this was the first year with Roman Oben and his team putting that together. I just rose my hand and wanted to volunteer just to be there. And they allowed me to go there to kind of serve it in the same role, to speak to some of the young men, talk about my experiences as a player, specifically some of the things that I didn't get right, because a lot of times we always, folks always talk about the things that they got right. But I think a lot of times these young men can learn from maybe decisions that weren't good that we made. And so to be able to be there to do that and mentor a lot of those young men in that capacity, it feels great.
Yeah, and I've done this before, but it's been a while, so I'm going to ask you the question. And I know you're going to have to talk about the Giants since he's a longtime Giant before he got his ring with the Bucks. But Roman Oben, everybody knows this. I have a little bit of a man crush on him. I've never met a man like him in my life. I mean, such an inspirational guy, not only on the field and in sports, but in business too. I've come to really respect him. Tell the people out there that are watching this on High School Football America a little bit about Roman and his passion for this sport, which obviously you have. But what's it like to work with that former Giant guy? But
Yeah. You know what? We won't hold that against Roman, him playing for the Giants, and definitely him when he played for the Bucks, because they beat us in Philadelphia, the last game in Veterans Stadium, in the NFC championship game to go on to win the Super Bowl. And so, but yeah, Ro, I call him Ro. But he's like a brother to me. Very professional, very educated, and he just has a passion for the game. He has two great young boys. Him and his wife have raised. As a matter of fact, one of them just transferred to University of Notre Dame. So I'm excited about that. But just the tireless work that Roman puts in along with his team. I mean, everybody they're just overcommitted to the goals and things that he sets forward and leads that charge. And so I'm, like I said, like the same way that I feel about Troy, I feel about Roman as well, just because he has the passion for what we're trying to do in this space, and he's a great leader.
yeah, no doubt about that. So, last question going away, we'll go back to the flag side of things since that's really where you're dug in right now, although you have a lot of tentacles out there. But living here in Georgia now, it's been so much fun to watch what the Falcons have done through the Blank Foundation. And now the girls' championship games are actually played in the same arena, Mercedes-Benz, where the boys are playing their championships, which is cool. So that means everything's even Steven, right? Everybody's on the same level. So is there a way you can look into a crystal ball? I know more states are going to sanction, but what does girls flag look like in, let's say, the coming 5 or 10 years? Can you do a little look into the future on that?
Well, in 5 years, we hope that every state in the country has sanctioned high school girls flag football. I say that so freely, but we know that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. For example, in the state of Pennsylvania, they just voted, I think it was May 15th, 30-0 in favor of just the first hurdle. They'll also be voting, I think, two more times to decide if girls flag football will be sanctioned in that state. And then we have Ohio, that we hope that it will be an emerging sport coming up. I actually have a couple of meetings today with some stakeholders in the state of Ohio to talk about how we can help push them over the edge as well. And so that's it as well, because I know that soon there will be an application that will be submitted to the NCAA to establish women's flag football and collegiate level as an emerging sport. And hopefully when that happens, there'll be more colleges and universities that will bring the sport in under their umbrellas and make it official. Already right now, young women are able to get scholarships to go to college to play the sport. And so I could see it potentially being a professional women's flag football league at some point. I mean, we also have the Olympics that we talked about early in 2028. So, yeah, there's just a lot of excitement that's going on in the space all over flag football, tackle football. And, it's just an honor that I'm able to be a part of it.
Yeah, a lot of fun as far as those scholarships. I just attended a couple of weeks ago the Falcons College showcase there at Mercedes-Benz. It was a lot of fun, and I mean, 300 girls there with the opportunity to go to the next level was so much fun. Hey, it was great catching up. Like I said, I haven't seen you since back in the day at Lehigh University in those really hot rooms. I don't think they had air conditioning there back in those days, but it's good to see you again. Good to catch up. Good to learn everything you're doing, and thanks for your time, Bobby.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I look forward to speaking with you again soon.